What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Flash, Season 3, Episode 19, The Once and Future Flash. So long that we had to wait for this, but it's finally here, and man, I've been looking forward to it forever. The last episode ended with, of course, Barry saying, I'm going to go to the future, and then Caitlin turns into Killer Frost and attacks people, and that's how it ended. So we picked up exactly where we left off. Caitlin is attacking the lab. Barry shows up in the nick of time to help everybody out, but she manages to escape into the winter storm going on outside. So Barry realizes, okay, I'm just going to go to the future and I'm going to find out what's going on. I'm going to come back. We're going to stop Savitar. We're going to help Caitlin. We're going to do this. He gets there and there's nothing. There's really nothing there for him, and it's really kind of a bleak future looking at it. The first one he ends up meeting is Cisco, and we kind of see, I guess, I kind of saw from the very beginning where this was going, because he meets Cisco. Cisco's like, "You're here. You can help us," and Barry's not helping. Everybody else is down and out. They don't feel like doing anything. We see the mirror guy and the girl that gave them vertigo just by looking at them. They're attacking the city, and nobody's really doing anything to stop anybody. So he's lost his ability to vibe because he lost his hands in the fight with Killer Frost, which I don't really know if I buy, just because, I don't know, I understand, like, you can't shoot frequency out of your hands anymore because you lost them, but he should still have the ability to, like, vibe stuff, like, see certain things using the frequency or whatever. I don't know, it just feels like he shouldn't be completely depowered, but that's kind of what it felt like. But yeah, all in all, it was a good setup as far as this episode goes. It was really enjoyable. It was a bit predictable just because I've seen this setup before in the old Teen Titans cartoon, not the new one because the new one sucks. There was an episode where Starfire got sent to the future and everybody, like the team, disbanded. Most of them aren't doing anything, and by the end of the episode they've all banded together just like they used to in the old days and fought the bad guy and stopped him. So that's pretty much what this one was. Barry is just tired, depressed, doesn't want to do anything. Cisco is only really able to make technology. HR is now doing poetry. Julian is now working in Iron Heights, I guess as a doctor for metahumans or something. Joe is probably off the force. We don't really see him doing much of anything. And Wally is like practically comatose because he got injured in a fight with Savitar, and so he hasn't been able to do anything since then. So it was one of those things where Barry comes from the past and he comes, inspires them, helps them fight, and so by the end of it, they manage to stop the two villains, Mirror Guy and Vertigo Girl, and that's pretty much it. He doesn't really learn much as far as who Savitar is, and that was kind of the thing coming into this, like, who is Savitar? Tell me his name, and Barry doesn't know who it is. He just managed to trap him using some sort of, like, prison in the Speed Force or whatever that a doctor apparently is going to help him build, but apparently she wasn't able to do it until 4 years after Iris died, so that's kind of a problem. But he does give Barry the schematics or some sort of notes that should be able to help her do it. I don't know if that's what they're going to be able to do, but it should make for an interesting little plot device. Caitlin, apparently we find out, was in league with Savitar. Her motivations seem a little bit shaky, because Savitar apparently comes up to her and says, "Oh, I can help you be the true you, and make sure Caitlin never comes back again. You're just going to be Killer Frost." And I don't know, I guess because Killer Frost is evil kind of makes sense, but I don't know why Killer Frost is evil. It makes sense that she's getting metahuman powers, but why is she turning evil because of it? That doesn't make sense to me. It made sense whenever, like, in the alternate Earth, there was actually some sort of backstory that surrounded that. But this one, it's like she's getting metahuman powers, and these powers are now turning her evil. I don't know, that part of it just kind of bugs me. But I'm splitting hairs now. But we see her, apparently she's been locked in Iron Heights, inside of one of the little, I guess, prisons from Star Labs. And so Barry manages to talk to her and find out what happened after he left. But I think just all in all, the most interesting part about it was seeing Barry get to talk to his future self, because we get to see kind of two sides of Barry here. And honestly, Grant Gustin did a really, really good job of, pretending to be an older Barry, because really you can see the age. Not just because of the makeup, but like the tone of his voice everything, his mannerisms, everything that he's doing, you can see that he's a bit older. He's a bit more mature. He is very, very down and depressed because of what happened, but you can see where he's kind of grown up into a more of a realist instead of just a spunky youth that I'm going to go save the world and all that stuff. So I just thought it was very interesting to see the two sides of him. On top of that, we do learn some very interesting information. I'm not sure quite. Some of it was a bit kind of vague. I do wonder if this Barry remembers doing this, going into the future to find out what happened. Because he says at one point, you're going to go back, you're going to do anything you can to stop him, you're going to even create some time remnants, but it's not going to be enough. Most of them are going to die. So it sounds like he remembers going to the future, and he knows what's going to happen after Barry goes back to try to stop Savitar, and he says it's not going to be enough, whatever you do. So, I don't know, I find that kind of interesting, but by the end of it, we do see, it's almost like, he maybe senses that maybe something's different this time. Maybe telling myself this will help a little bit, or maybe something can change. I don't know. It really depends on how time works. Whenever he sees Cisco without his hands, just seeing that, does that automatically change time to where now I'm going to go back and I'm going to remember Cisco lost his hands in a fight with Killer Frost, and so I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen now. So if that were the case, if looking at Cisco and seeing that his hands were broken off in the fight with Killer Frost, if that's how that works, then wouldn't it instantly change? Or is it not going to change until Barry goes back? And that's when the future changes. Whenever he starts to make the decisions, whenever it happens for this Barry, that's when the future starts to change. I don't know. I really don't know. It's something that I hope they start to explain a little bit. Maybe they'll have a reason. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just be like, no, this is the future as it is now. And once you go back, the future is going to change again. I assume we'll find out. But we do start to see that, it seems like Savitar's identity is becoming a bit more known. It's starting to become realized. Now, do I have an opinion? Yes. I don't remember if I talked about this before, but at one point I said, what if it was, what's his name? Jay Garrick. The guy that looks like Barry's dad, but he's from Earth 2 or whatever. We do see at one point that he ends up in the Speed Force because he took Wally's place, and Savitar did say that Barry locked him in the Speed Force. So it is kind of a question of maybe this is Jay Garrick after he got locked in there for several years. Barry forgot about him. Barry never found a way to get him out, and so because of that, he decided to come back as Savitar because, well, it doesn't really make sense. Oh, but that's supposed to be his dad, right? Well, it's not really his dad. It's just somebody who's his dad from another Earth. So I find that very interesting, and I really hope we get to see what happens to Jay Garrick after this, because is he going to be stuck in that Speed Force trap forever, or is he going to get out? So basically, if that were the case, the way it works is he would be stuck in there until eventually he gets out at one point as Savitar and decides to come back to haunt Barry, and so I guess Wally goes in, gets stuck in there, and then the Jay Garrick from that timeline comes in and gets stuck in there again. And so the cycle just repeats until, I guess one of the Jay Garricks isn't stuck in there. The other thought that I had, and I actually just had this thought today after I was watching this episode, because a lot of people were saying, oh, what if it's a future Barry or something like that? Well, as I was thinking about it, I'm like, they did mention time remnants in this episode, kind of out of nowhere. And there was that one time remnant. The one, and from the end of last season, Barry created a time remnant to sacrifice himself whenever he was fighting Hunter Zolomon as Zoom. And so that one just kind of, I can't remember what device Zoom was trying to build, but it was something to do with time, I believe. It was something to do with speed as well. So I'm wondering if maybe that Barry, that time remnant of Barry, when he went to sacrifice himself, the explosion knocked him into the Speed Force or something like that, and so that created Savitar. Just a possibility, but it would be very, very interesting if that ends up being what this all is. It actually is Barry, but it's not the real Barry. It's a time remnant of Barry, and just how crazy, mind blowing would that be? Uh, but all in all, I mean, this is a very good build up episode for the next one. We are getting to see a lot more of just kind of what this season is building towards. You know, just we're starting to get to see. We're starting to get to see, I guess, what this is all leading to, and of course, you know, we kind of figured from the beginning it is going to be building towards a Savitar versus Barry outcome. But I really like the fact that it's more than just, oh, they're just going to fight. No, there's very clear there's some history there, and we're going to get to see, I guess, some of what led to that, some of how Savitar became Savitar. You know, what caused it, how did he become Savitar. I really enjoy how they're building all this up, and they're doing a very good job of making sure that the story is building week after week. You know, it's just they do such a good job of writing the story. They do such a good job of really making it interesting and not doing something stupid every week. Not just, oh, let's just talk about, oh, how does that make you feel? You know, Barry and Iris together. Oh, isn't that so cute? No, it actually means something. You know, them being together is a lot to the season, but because she's about to die, you know, the future says she's gonna die. So I don't know. I just compared to the other shows, you know, Supergirl, Arrow, even there's so much more at stake. I think in this show that the shows just lack on the CW. So I really enjoy where it's going. Hopefully we get a lot more about Savitar. Next week's episode is, or well, tomorrow night's episode is entitled "I Know Who You Are." So I'm assuming we're going to find out who Savitar is. We see at the end of this episode he reveals himself to Caitlin, and she's just like, "What do you want me to do?" So clearly she knows who he is. But I mean, I'm just looking forward to it. Really exciting, a lot of good stuff going on in this show. So hopefully they can keep it up throughout the rest of the season. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future The Flash reviews, and I will see you at the next one. Peace out.